haven't spoken to you since the night that you said, find me. They obviously did. What was your reaction? I'm assuming something you assumed was coming.
You shall receive.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I think something had to be said. I think we're, like, as a team, we get to the free throw line the least in the league. So just protecting our guys and myself, I think that we should, deserve a little bit of more respect. I think the analytics show that our team is dead last, and it's like inconsistencies as well. So I want them to, hopefully they put some time in and review it, but I feel like defenders and stuff is getting away with a lot, and it makes my job a lot harder.
You've been a little more vocal in general this year about officiating after some games. What's the balance for you? And kind of, like you said, sending that message, making it clear you're not satisfied, but also not letting it become like a distraction for you and yourself.
Yeah, just being myself. Half the time I'm probably trolling a little bit. Just having some fun, It's my 10th year in the league. I feel like I've, been quiet enough. So this year I'm just being more myself and having some fun, just, being me.
Have you learned ways to get to the free throw line more often, whether it is advocating a little bit or figuring out actually some techniques for doing it?
Sure. I've studied officiating. I've took the next step to know where refs are supposed to be, whose call it is supposed to make. Like if they're at the who's at the point of attack, who's in the high quadrant or whatever. I've learned the officiating, so I know who to talk to, who missed the call. And on top of that, I study all the top guys who get to the free throw line at a high rate and do the same things that they do. They just pick and choose who they like to call it on, and that's the part that pisses me off. Because it should just be everybody should just get repped evenly and consistently, but it just seems like there's an agenda where some guys they choose to call certain fouls for, and some guys they don't. So I don't know what goes into that decision making, but it's kind of clear that certain guys on certain teams, certain markets, or certain profiles get preferential treatment versus others, and it should just be basketball.
Have you had conversations about that with officials, with people in the league?
For sure, yeah. I've had conversations through the union, through the officiating crew, but it seems to be whatever going on. I don't know.
How did you study officiating?
We talked to the Monty is the head official, so we've had meetings with him, and they have a rule book. Like when you become an official, you have an operating rule book where you're supposed to be, what calls are supposed to be made. And over time, I've looked at that, at times to be able to understand more what they're looking at and where they're seeing it from, just so I can, have a better argument. I still probably got more to do and learn. It's not an easy job to be an official. I'm not taking that into consideration probably, but for us to be last, I just think we just need a little bit more respect. We come out and compete. We're in the top teams in the league. It's not like we're not. We come out and compete on both ends of the ball, on defense and offense. It's hard to beat good teams if you only get into the free throw line 4 times when you play against top tier teams. No matter what the X's and O's are, no matter what, if that part of the game isn't substantial and it's constantly that, it's hard to win those games.
Has the process of becoming more educated about that made it more frustrating when then you feel like calls are blown or that sort of thing?
Extremely.
When you started, maybe you didn't even realize the extent of.
Extremely, because if you put time in to study something and you see the actions that you're putting in that are replicating the other actions of other teams and you're not getting the same love, it's extremely frustrating.
When you don't get the same love and maybe you don't get the whistle that you want, how do you guys remain as a team to kind of control the controllables and push through?
Yeah, even without it, we're a good team, so we beat a lot of teams. It's just harder to beat the better teams when you're not getting that. But we're a good enough team that if we just play through it, we'll beat 50% of the teams that are out there just because we play better basketball, we're in the right place, we're smarter. But when you play really good teams, that makes it tough, So as a leader, it's my job to kind of not let it affect us, so not complaining too much and stuff like that. But when you make physical drives and you get to the basket and they don't call it, it makes it look like a bad possession because then it leads to our defense. It just points over. So then it makes me think, should I be aggressive here? Should I pass it here? And then you start getting indecisive and it just snowballs. But I'm going to keep being aggressive, but I also got to just monitor. If I don't get it, just, have a stoic mentality and just on to the next play.
When there are moments of frustration, it seems like Tony Dobbins is one of the guys that kind of keeps everybody cool and talks to the official. What's his role from your perspective when there's a heated moment in the game?
Yeah, Tony's always like that. Tony's always keeping everybody level-headed. and stuff like that, and just telling us, reminding me and reminding our team to just breathe. You know what I mean? Managing the emotion of the game is what he speaks to a lot, because, you know, the better players, the better professionals can manage their stress levels and their emotions during the game so they can see the game clearly. Once you have frustration and all that type of stuff starts to seep in, it starts to cloud your vision and your decision making. So when you're out on the floor, when you're out in life, really, you just want to be able to make the best decisions possible. So trying to manage your stress levels and think clearly as possible can help that, not just in basketball, but in life.
Thank you, Jaylen.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.